Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. Today, let's talk about how to reduce the noise floor in your studio recordings and at your live gigs. Noise, of course, is any undesired audio that might be creeping into either your recordings or your live sound system. We're talking about hum and buzzes and hisses and whines and all kinds of different sounds that can be in there that are just undesirable, and we want to reduce the amount of those that's in our recordings or coming through our PA system for cleaner sound quality. Today I've got 10 different areas that you can look at that'll help you reduce or improve the noise floor in your recordings and at your live gigs. To begin, we'll talk about one that's fairly obvious, and that's reducing the ambient noise in your room. Whether you're in a studio or, I guess, at a gig, you could also reduce the noise on stage as well. Now, the problem with ambient noise in a room, especially in a studio, is that we quickly become accustomed to hearing it and it sort of disappears. We don't even notice it anymore until we put up a live microphone and all of a sudden we're hearing all kinds of noise in the room that we hadn't even noticed before. So I recommend going into the room, opening up a microphone, and listening to what you hear through headphones. You might be surprised at the sounds that are creeping in there. You want to look at things like noise from AC systems, air conditioners, and heaters, and so on. If you've got a refrigerator in the room, like I've got a little mini fridge in this room that we have to turn off when we do a video or it comes through in the video. Maybe it's noise outside the room, like a lawnmower or traffic going by. Harder to control that, of course, but things inside the room you can listen for, maybe even want to put a microphone up, put on a set of headphones and listen to what you're hearing in the room and reduce those background or ambient noise sources. Our second thing to look at is gain staging. By gain staging, I mean how you're setting the gain at each different point in your signal path. So you've got an initial preamp gain, and then you might have a compressor gain and an EQ gain and a fader on a mixer and so on. Setting those properly will help you maintain the lowest possible noise in your signal path. Generally, you want good solid level, especially early in the signal path, so that it's stronger as it goes through the rest of the signal path, which reduces noise pickup and hum and other audible noise. We've got a video on gain staging that we'll link below that you can check out, but to sum it up, you want to make sure you've got a good solid level going through each stage so that there's not additional noise coming from stages of amplification. Another source of noise in your recordings, and definitely on stage, is ground loops. Ground loops occur because there's more than one path to ground for a particular audio signal, so we want to minimize those or break those ground loops. You can do this by carefully plugging things together, but there are also devices that let you break ground loops up. Now, you want to be careful with using what we call widow makers, those little 3-prong to 2-prong adapters that you can plug in on the end of cords. Those are definitely not safe. Safer solutions are available from Morley, ART, Behringer, Rolls, and many more that allow you to safely break that connection between the ground so that you're not getting potential ground loops in the hum that accompanies them. Speaking of AC power, the AC power in your system can carry a lot of noise itself. So getting the cleanest possible AC power can help you maintain a clean signal path in your studio or on stage. Take a look at power conditioners from Furman, Surgex, Black Lion, Radial, and more for ways to clean up your AC power. If you're a guitar player and you play single coil pickups, you're definitely familiar with hum that gets picked up by the guitar itself. Basically, that pickup is a coil of wire that serves as an antenna for picking up noise out of the air. Now, one solution is to use humbucking pickups, but if you love the sound of your single coils, you really can't do that. So in that case, you'll want to look at either removing sources of EMI from your room or minimizing them. Sometimes just changing the direction you're facing can affect the amount of noise that's being picked up by the pickups. Or there are pieces of gear that will help you with this as well. For example, ISP Technologies and Electro-Harmonics both make devices that will reduce the amount of hum in single coil pickups. Or you could use a noise gate, which automatically shuts off the signal when you're not playing, and that can clamp down on any noise in the signal path as well. Number 6 on our list is to check the cable routing for your system. And by this I mean separating the AC power cables from the signal cables. If you're wiring a rack, for example, run the AC power down one side and run all the signal cables down the other. Where you need to cross an AC power cord with a signal cable, cross at a 90-degree angle. This will help reduce the amount of noise that might be transferred from the AC system into your signal path. And that brings me to number 7, which is to use high-quality cables. High-quality cables generally have better shielding, and they're also more durable. The shielding prevents any noise from getting into the signal conductors, and the durability translates to less noise if the cable's flexed or moved. Power supplies in the studio can also be a source of noise, particularly less expensive switching power supplies. So you want to keep those power supplies away from your signal cables. Number 9 on the list is lighting dimmers. Lighting dimmers can create a surprising amount of noise in a system as you turn them down. So the solutions are use great quality dimmers, and also don't use them if you don't have to. Finally, last on our list is that some signal processing can actually increase the amount of apparent noise in a system. For example, with compression, the idea is you turn the peaks down so you can raise the average level. But as you raise that average level, you're also turning up the noise floor, so be conscious of that. EQ can also emphasize certain frequencies, for example, bringing out hiss when you turn up the high frequencies. So again, be aware of that as you're working. I hope you found this list of 10 things that can affect noise floor to be useful. They're the kind of things you want to have in the back of your mind as you're designing your system, as you're putting your rig together, as you're setting things up, and as you're working. It's so much easier to reduce noise at the source than it is to remove it later. Of course, we have software that'll remove noise afterward from isotope, waves, and more, but it's far easier to start out with a clean signal than it is to have to remove noise after the fact. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Click here for more videos like this, or start at sweetwater.com for all your music instrument and pro audio needs. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Mitch Gallagher at Sweetwater.